Hey, it's Matthew David, the Minister of Allowing with Allow Ministries, and I want to give you a lesson today that'll be short and real concise. I want to give you some key steps on how to overcome a mountain. In your life. See, a mountain is something that your human reasoning cannot solve. It's when, to all appearances, you look like you're in a lot of trouble, according to the world outside of you. And you see, man's desperation is God's opportunity. So this is actually a blessing in disguise. And we can learn from the story of Jehoshaphat in 2 Chronicles 20. The king of Judah, when he was being attacked on all sides. So the first thing that happened was fear came to torment the king. And the thing that he did is what saved him. And the thing that he did is what turned this into a miraculous blessing. The same thing that you can do right now in this moment. You see, it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. It's your state of being that makes all of the difference. I repeat, it doesn't matter what your circumstances look like to all appearances or what your human reasoning says about them. You may be facing a mountain of debt. You may be facing a fallout of a relationship that appears catastrophic. Or you may be like me when I was bedridden and bankrupt with Lyme disease back in 2009 and I thought it was over. It doesn't matter what your mountain looks like. This is how you get out of that problem-based consciousness, and you allow the godlike power inside of you to take hold and to begin to demonstrate the truth of being. So what Jehoshaphat did is he set himself to seek the Lord instead of stepping into fear. Now, I'm going to digress just a moment. We know from the ancient Apocrypha that the 5 steps of sin consciousness are: number 1, fear; number 2, confusion; number 3, lack of trust in God, huge mistake; number 4 is double-mindedness; number 5 is division. So the first step is the fear part. We need to circumcise. We need to do a circumcision. A spiritual circumcision is the real circumcision. Okay? Fear needs to be circumcised. What that does is that removes the doubting, erring, human reasoning part of your soul that is programmed in an adulterated way through corrupted language, through the who, what, when, where, why, and how, the 6 degrees of separation, the questions that we always ask that are really just an affirmation of a self-doubting mindset. See, the highest form of faith is trust in God. And the only thing that produces miracles is that highest form of faith. Faith produces miracles. Reason comes from the word ria, which means guilty mind. And son is the descendant of. So it's the descendant of a guilty mind producing doubt through asking the questions. When's it going to happen? How's it going to happen? I just don't see a way out. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. All of this reasoning, this tinkering, that Jesus commanded not to do, to take no thought for your life, gets you in trouble. This is problem consciousness that creates more problems because what you put out comes back. So Jehoshaphat didn't do that. He set himself to seek the Lord. He proclaimed a fast all over Judah. And what he did in this context is a fast means to break the connection to the problem. To break your connection to the problem. See, no fear and no obsessive thinking about it is turning your back on problem consciousness. It's very, very important.
Hello, it's Amanda with Alpha Upgrade and Allow Ministries. Are you stuck in your finances, health, or relationships? Feeling burnt out, tired, even defeated? Like you're older than you thought you'd be at this point in your life? International #1 best-selling author Matthew David Hurtado was bedridden and bankrupt in 2009 with Lyme disease. After gaining a full recovery and building multiple seven-figure businesses, Matthew teaches biblical secrets of the ages that work, regardless of age, social status, or belief in competition. During the Spiritual Millionaire Workshop 5.0 in May, Matthew will release his new book, Gold Rule, for attendees who attend this life-changing training. Why should you attend? You're being programmed by 15,000 messages a day if you live in the USA. You need a vibrational weapon, like self-entrainment technique, to produce an immediate shift in consciousness and sustain it, raising your frequency. Whether you can attend or not, head over to gold-rule.com and opt in to get a free pre-release digital copy of Gold Rule. Gold Rule is the answer to clarity, focus, and a proven action-based guide to getting everything you desire. Go to gold-rule.com and claim your pre-release copy now.
Now, I'll give you a technique that I discovered years ago that transformed my entire life from bedridden and bankrupt with Lyme disease to building a seven-figure company and to having perfect well-being again, because it's all based on this principle of letting God take over the battle for you. It's called the ABC Break Process, and it was in my #1 best-selling book, Allow, the first book that came out back in, I think, 2015. Anyway, more on that in a minute. So, what he did after the fast was he asked help from the Lord. He recognized that God was all in all, that God was the only power, the only presence, the only mind. See, setting up this established fact in your consciousness is paramount to anything. Once you know that God is the only presence, the only power, and the only mind, then you can set up the next sequence of logic, okay, the knowledge of the Father that brings the end of suffering and tribulation in your life. That's the gnosis. That's the hidden knowledge that's been kept from humanity for years. It's all done through this process. God is all in all. God is spiritual, never material. You never had a human life. You never left heaven. These are facts of being. You are an idea in the mind of God. You are created in the image and likeness of God. That likeness is spiritual, never material. Material man was foreign to Jesus, it says in the ancient Apocrypha. And the wise people of the day were empty-headed fools. That's what it says. Jesus discovered them as empty-headed fools because they were full of reasoning. Reasoning is guilty mind, the son of a guilty mind. This is what it means to become adulterated. This is what adultery is to break your marriage with the divine principle that you are in the mind of God and to step into a persona that believes it has to think for its own existence, because you were never engineered to think for your own existence and to fight your own battles. And this is where all the problems get stuck, is you get fighting for your own battles, thereby reinforcing the battle. You are reinforcing the problem when you begin to fight your own battles. So Jehoshaphat didn't do that. He was still. Be still and God will fight your battles. He became still and recognized that the battle was God's battle. Now, as you step into truth, what happens is the world of incompleteness that is set before your eyes, the world of error and ignorance, begins to attack you, just like it does everyone else who steps into truth. So the more you step into truth, the more you need to demonstrate the stillness, the perfect passivity, the rest. Okay, when Jesus rested, he received. You need to rest in the truth that God is all in all. The battle is God's, it's not your battle, and victory is inherent in that nature. God has already won the battle. So what that allows you to do is complete surrender to the moment, to the now. And when you surrender to the now, in the moment, in a perfect place of peace and rest and stillness, then you unleash your godlike power on the situation, and that is the spoken word. The only thing God ever did in the Bible was speak. God spoke, and it was created. God spoke. So the godlike power in you is the spoken word. So you speak the truth of what God knows to be true about you, and you learn that from the scripture. And you speak the truth in the appearance of the problem while maintaining that perfect passive stillness, that rest in the understanding that the battle is not yours. You're just witnessing it. It's God's battle. God's already won the battle. And as you continue to speak those words over that situation, what you will see happen is you will see the falling away of a fear or a compulsion, because that's what you're experiencing, a fear or a compulsion in your consciousness. And because minds mingle, it doesn't have to be your fear. Thoughts are not controlled or owned by anybody. They circulate. And see, we can pick up these thoughts by being around other people or environments. And then they become demonstrated in our experience because we have attached our five senses to them through an emotional upset or through the osmosis of someone else's mind. And then we think that it's our problem. There is no problem. God is all in all. God is spiritual. God never had a human problem. God never created a human man. That is where the fall of man takes place. That's the Adam dream of consciousness. God never created a human man. Hue is the coloring of the man manifestation. It's the coloring of law, and it's not God's law. And if anything is outside of God's law, it doesn't exist. It's a shadow. It is the world of incompleteness swept before your lying eyes. So, the solution is simple. Do the ABC break process. Learn it in my book, Allow. Get the free copy at MatthewDavidHurtado.com, or text the word allow to the number on the screen. Get it to your smartphone. Learn this technique. You can even text allow to the number and just get the technique right now if you want that. Learn the technique and use it, because what it does is it sets up a universal language, the language of feeling and emotion. As Reverend Ike says, feeling gets the blessing. Okay? So the universal language that transcends all of the babble speak that we do is the language of emotion. And that language of emotion is the secret of the ages that Jesus talked about in the Lost Book of Thomas, is to surround your environment with the emotional receiving of what you're asking for. That is what it means to believe.
Hello, I'm Julie with Allow Ministries on behalf of Matthew David Hurtado. Are you ready to end self-sabotage, procrastination, and distraction? Clarity, certainty, and a proven plan of action is what it takes to get anything you want in life. Training is the answer. Matthew David Hurtado's Spiritual Millionaire Workshop is the one-step solution that finally puts you in control of your destiny. What Matthew discovered about building a 7-figure business and perfect well-being when he was bedridden and bankrupt with Lyme disease is that mentorship is success without the wait. It works. At allowuniversity.com, you'll discover how to walk in victory. Learn how to prosper in every area with unstoppable daily habits and a step-by-step training to build your dream business immediately following the event, a success training for a lifetime of achievement. Walk in financial increase, living a life you love. Go to allowuniversity.com and say yes to your destiny.
Believe in your heart. So as you believe in your heart, you receive every time. You're not asking amiss. This process will do it for you. The ABC break process, learn it and master it. And then when you want more, come to the Spiritual Millionaire Workshop and we'll take it all the way. But first, prove to yourself how powerful you are. You will dissolve this mountain in your life. Follow the ABC break process and do it to the letter. Activate the peace that brings the stillness where God fights your battle for you, disconnecting the mind from the equation and stepping into the feeling of having the desired result, amplifying the feeling, transcending the reality that you see before your lying eyes by painting it with truth. So you transcend it with truth and you speak what God knows to be true. And what happens is you will witness. You are the witnessing consciousness. you will witness a new world emerge. We live in parallel universes, and quantum physics proves that 99.99997% empty space is what physical matter is. Don't trust your lying and deceitful five senses. Trust the Word of God. Trust the wisdom. Live according to principle and demonstrate the power that you have. I promise you, this law does not fail. Take care. God bless and love you.